Hello, YouTube. I've stopped doing the live standard for now. After I get in practice some more, I might continue making the live standard videos since a lot of people seem to like those. But I don't know, I tried doing 15-minute games on ICC while recording them, and I got into some time trouble and I lost a couple of really ugly games. So my 15-minute rating is well, it was down to 1600 something. It's 1736 now, and I just played an interesting game, which like breaks a lot of opening rules. So I figured I'd try and make a whoops. I figured I'd try and make a video covering this game that I just played. And I have not looked at any of this with the computer engine yet. I just played it like a few minutes ago. This is a 15-minute auto pool game. My opponent's 15-minute rating is 1818, Rosarina, and reading the finger notes, name is Rosario from Argentina, and this is not a fish. Blitz rating 2334. 5-minute rating, best 2348. So decent player, and I've been playing really bad chess. Lost a couple of dopey games yesterday. And I haven't really been doing any, like, thinking serious about chess at all for like a week, so. In this game, I was white, and I opened with e3 the Vant Krui. And, it's an opening it doesn't give white an advantage, but it's more of a transpositional device. It tempts my opponent to occupy the center early, and, there's some move orders where white can get it, it's pretty interesting positions. Anyway, my opponent in this game played g6, which is a reasonable move. I mean, if white's not going to put a pawn on e4 and build up the big pawn center, then why not put a bishop on g6 and play standard kingside castling moves. So I put in this position, I decided to play h4, just reacting to his g6 move. I want to put h4, h5, and this I don't know. This is fundamentally unsound chess, but the ideas behind it seem reasonable. I mean, he's committing to g6, so I'm trying to make a move that matches that. And one possible move order is he plays knight f6 to stop the pawn from going to h5, while blocking the long diagonal. And I can play b4, or to try and get on the diagonal myself. So bishop g7, bishop b2. And now I'm threatening to play h5. Well, I might be threatening to play h5. So say black castles, guarding his bishop, and now, what is this possible pawn sacrifice? h5, knight takes, and now rook takes is not possible because the bishop on b2 is hanging. So just bishop takes, and then knight takes, and c4. And white has some space on the queen side. He's down a pawn, but it gives him half open h-file towards black's king. White can follow up by playing moves like knight c3, queen b3, maybe even castle queenside. Knight f3, bishop d3 is interesting compensation. But that actually did not happen in this game. My opponent, after playing h4, I don't know, my rating was like 1600 or something, so maybe he thought I was some kind of a loony, and just stop my advance altogether. So here he's committed to h5, so I decided to play knight h3. Of course, developing the kingside knight before taking any further action. In retrospect, maybe that was the position for. Well, see, if I play b4, then they can play bishop g7 and make me do something about the rook. So knight h3. Going for the possibly weak square on g5. Maybe if I play d4 and, discourage the e5, the knight can use f4. Anyway, it seemed to fit. And then after knight f6, well, that invites knight g5 already, but I decided to play, actually, I guess I did play knight g5 right away. b4 was probably a better move order there. So, played d5, and now I play b4. So I want to get on the long diagonal. And if If e5, then bishop b2, and I don't know, maybe his weak squares on the f-file become relevant. Anyway, knight e4, just trying to exchange pieces. It was a strange idea. I played bishop b2, hitting his rook, and the rook moves to g8, so now black cannot castle. So now I decide to take because it removes his queen pawn and allows me to play c4. So I have this queenside space and natural developing with knight c3, queen b3, and a good defensive triangle d2, e3, f2. It's really see what is there for black to do. I mean, he's got the advanced pawn on e4, but no development, no kingside attack. So I was happy with the result of my unusual opening. a5, trying, if I push, then the knight could use c5. So I played a3, taking advantage of the fact my rook is covered. So now bishop g4, trying to provoke me into creating a weakness on g3 with f3. So although he loses a tempo here, and the extra center pawn, I don't know, maybe allows me to play d4 and e4. And then, I don't know, if the queen gets a check, but my king can always just go to e2. But anyway, so f3 was an option there, but I decided to play queen b3, since what is his bishop doing on g4? Possibly, some checkmate patterns, maybe, but if I be careful, that shouldn't be a concern. Bishop g7. So now I exchange, getting the rook to an awkward square, and I play queen b2, moving my queen to a dark square, taking advantage of the bishop that is gone. So this threatens, and it also guards my rook. So rook g8 was played, and now knight c3, attacking this pawn. And I expected something like bishop f5 here. But f5 is that's probably bad. There's like, oops, not that, knight d5, controlling the dark squares, knight d5 to f4. Has to worry about, like after this bishop moves, like f3 trapping the bishop then. Anyway, takes on b4, expecting me to take back automatically. But no, I decided to take this chance to capture the center pawn. So if takes here, then I don't know, I guess queen takes b7 is possible, but I think I'd rather just take back, like this. And I have a comfortable position here. So, after takes, knight c6, which makes sense, because if I take, then, rook takes check, queen takes, and then knight recaptures. So I thought for a while here. I considered playing f3. I considered playing c5. To get this bishop something to do on the classical bishop diagonal. Maybe even something like f4 to keep control over the e5 square at the cost of weakening g3. But I decided d4, contest e5. Sure, it blocks the diagonal for the queen, but maybe d5 is possible. And it secures c5 for the knight. So maybe if I play knight c5 to d3, it makes taking on b4 easier, and also like in the future kick with f3 and e4. So bishop f5, and then see f3 was an option. Since if takes, f takes, I have good center control, and my queen helps defend the king side. So I could then follow up by playing like bishop d3 and castles. I don't know, castling is sort of taboo after you've moved a pawn in front of your king, but considering where his king is, and the fact that he cannot bring very much force to my king side, castling king side is definitely in the cards for me, especially since there's possible tension on the a file, and I really want to have my rooks connected. So, oh wait, that's not the main line, is it? I played bishop d3, sure, temporarily hanging a piece, but my idea is to play knight to c5, trying to exchange these pieces. But no, the knight never got to c5. It was captured. So I took back, And now I like already the position of my bishop on the long diagonal. And let's see, my opponent played queen d6. Just developing and trying to get the rooks connected with king d7. Because also, prevents me from doubling the pawns. Although I could consider like playing c5. Also, the queen helps guard b4. So I still can't really take there, because then he takes on a1, and then I don't know, takes on b4, and takes this, and now I'm in trouble. So I castled. Sure, this pawn is hanging, and he could play g5 if he wanted to, but I have a very dangerous threat, which is to play pawn takes pawn and exploit the hanging rook on a8. So here, if he plays g5 and opens up the g file, well, that's not terrible for me. My bishop is helping me defend g2, and I could always push the f pawn and have my queen defend this stuff. So queen f6, I don't know, pinning my d pawn, also attacking this, makes sense. So I took on b4, and he played king d7. I actually didn't expect that. See, what if he takes here, and I take back, threatening rook a8 check? This is kind of awkward for him, because if he plays like I don't know, king f8, or no, because then I'd check and take his rook, I think. If he plays like king d7 here, b5. I'm possibly going to grab this. I don't know. So he played king d7 right away, and I'm looking for tactical opportunity. At this point in the game, he had 10 minutes 44 seconds on his clock. I had 7 minutes and 41 seconds. So I'd spent some time, in this positions leading up to this, and here I was taking a look for tactical chances to attack the king in the center. So again, well, d5 hangs my queen, of course. That's not an option, unless I move it. b5 takes. I don't know, maybe even. So I think b5 was the main move I was looking at here, or like rook d1 maybe. So I played b5. Makes the most sense. Tries to create a crisis on the long diagonal. Like if this b7 pawn were to go anywhere, then I could try and get a pawn to c6. He played knight a5, which I knew he would, so possibly threatening on c4. And see here, I played c5. Were there any other moves I was thinking about here? Exchange sack, with the idea of getting the bishop to c6. I didn't like this though because of rook b8, and now I can't even play bishop c6. Because well, actually I could, because he can't take because it's a check. If otherwise, the queen would be hanging. But still, I don't know. I didn't know about this. I didn't think that I had enough here for the exchange sacrifice. Plus, my position is pretty good as it is. This knight is kind of a trouble piece for him. So I decided to play c5 instead. Like if this knight ever moves, then I might take on b7, and then possibly play either pawn c6 or bishop c6. Forcing the king to make a decision. Does he want to come up, or does he want to go back and disconnect his rooks? So he played rook b8, so his king has places to go back, and he doesn't have to have his rook disconnected on g8. What else was possible for him? Knight c4. That leaves his knight stranded. So if anything else, I should probably play queen b4, and the knight has nowhere to go. Like b4. See here, I don't know, c6 is possible. But it's probably strong just to play queen b4. Since here I'm threatening his knight, I'm threatening to take b7, and the knight has no escape squares. So he played rook to b8. Now I play queen b4, just taking away, trying to take away the knight. And if he pushes b6, oh wait, that's not possible. I just grabbed the rook on a8. So how does he guard this knight? He doesn't. He counterattacks the bishop. So here, because could I have just won a piece here by playing bishop to f3? I mean, how does he stop rook takes knight? I mean, he can't move the knight anywhere. If he plays b6, there's bishop takes a8, followed by like c6 check, and oh, it's strong. I don't know. Maybe that's his best. Just capture this, and then I don't know. Maybe I want an open c file now. I don't know. This could have been, well, it was even stronger than when I played in the game. I was thinking, bishop f3 is a good move. I was thinking about, just destroying the cover around his king. So I played bishop takes, knowing that I can, get the piece back with c6 check and open some lines around his king, maybe a possible b6 to follow. If he plays rook takes, I just can, take his rook right away, or I can take his knight right away, or I can play c6. Like c6, this wins a rook. Well, yeah, it does, because takes, check. And I just grab this, or I don't know. Check. This looks even stronger. So yeah, this after he took knight, and I played c6 check. So his king has to go back to c8. Otherwise, I can take on a8 and then take on b7. And he's got a problem with my passed pawn. Like, I don't know, king d8. I take here first, and this. This looks quite bad for black. So after check, he played king c8. I was thinking about taking here. I was thinking about b6. But in the end, I decided to just take the knight. And he plays king takes, which is forced. And now I played rook a6. This move was kind of difficult to see, how to continue the attack. Queen c5 with rook c1 and hitting this. But I decided that my main strength was on the a file. So I played rook a6. And if he takes, I take back, giving check, and he has to guard his rook on b8. If I play this there, I can play queen a4, which threatens mate. And after he guards that, somehow I can play a7, rook b8 to rook b1 to b8, and just winning fairly easily. If he plays this, I can play check, take this, or if he takes, I can just checkmate him right away. So he cannot take, so it gives me time to build up my power on the a file. So he plays queen e4, bringing the queen to the defense. And I played queen a4, so that if he takes, I can take with with the pawn, giving check, and his king can't go back because of the queen e8 mate. And here he plays king c8, which prevents the pawn taking back from being checked, so it takes away my queen e8 mate idea. So I just tripled on the a file, and he took, and I took back with pawn. So already the pawn becomes a threat, and I'm threatening mate. So c6 was played. I don't know, maybe he could have done better with king d8. Let me run Houdini real quick. Well, I mean, it's showing that a7 is winning on the spot. After rook a8, I have queen to b5, followed by queen b8. All right, that's enough of Houdini. Yeah. So c6, moving a pawn in front of his king. So already, I can start to think about stuff like getting the rook to the c file, but I have to be concerned about his counterplay with rook b1. So although, even if he gets a heavy piece to my back rank, I can still play king h2, and because I'm covering the dark squares, he has no queen check. And actually, wait, if he gets a heavy piece to my back rank, and my king has to go to h2, there's queen h4 mate. So I'm glad that did not happen. So I played a7, forcing his rook to go to the corner, and now I play queen a6 check. So at this point, I'm down to under 2 minutes. My opponent has 7 minutes. So king to c7. And here, this is the kind of position where, I have an obvious advantage, but my opponent does have some counterplay. If the pawn gets to h3, I have to do something which should cause a weakness around my king. So here, this is the kind of position where if you know it's white to play and win, and you're looking for a puzzle-like move, it gives you a little more courage, and you might think of like breaking your mental norms for middle game planning. But if you don't know it's a puzzle and you find this, if you get to a position in one of your own games, this, I don't know, at a point in my development, this kind of move was difficult for me to see, because if I wasn't trying to solve a puzzle, I wasn't looking for moves like this. So if you don't learn anything else from this weird game, at least learn to like look for extreme ways to solve your problems when you're evaluating a chess position. So the move that I found is d5. Simply involving another pawn in the attack before he has a chance to blockade it. And the reasoning behind this is I want to play rook c1. I wanted to play rook b1 to play rook b7, but his queen is on that square, and if I play f3, then it can chop my pawns off. So I wanted to be able to get a rook there somehow. I guess rook c1. I think that was another move I was looking at, rook c1. But then you can play like that might have been okay too, because of queen d5, rook c5. Yeah, rook c1 might have also been all right. Let's see if Houdini likes the move I played here. Houdini says queen a5 is check is crushing. Let's see what happens here. King d6, queen b6. Oh, and I see there's queen b8. So, yeah. So queen a5 is 7.39 in favor of white. Let's see d5. d5, it drops down to, well, 5 points. But 5 points is still crushing in a position with this few pieces on the board. So, maybe not the computer best, but still, I would guess is an entirely logical move, because it gets the queen away from the protection of the b file. Like if he plays pawn takes, then there's rook c1, and my next move is going to be queen b7, and his queen no longer defends the long diagonal. So this would be crushing. If he plays queen takes, the queen's no longer on b7, so I can just play this. And I don't know. I thought this would be winning easily, because of the threat of queen b7 or rook b7. And if there's rook b8. There's rook b8 if he plays his king, because he's got a queen check, but then after king h2, there's no follow-up. Also, if he plays c5 here, well, I guess just queen b6, and then what is coming up here? King d7. Oh yeah, I see. e4. That's pretty good. It's deflecting the queen. So if the queen moves away from the long diagonal, there's queen b7, queen check. And if queen takes pawn, there's rook d1 check. Yeah. So queen takes. I was getting the the b file and the b7 square. So that was my logic behind the sacrifice on d5. My opponent played h4, which is simply dreadful. Queen takes check, and check, and check, and I'm going to queen next. So my opponent resigned in this position. Anyway, it's a strange game where in the opening, and in the end game, I had some goals in the position, and I took them to extremes. So maybe not the most fundamentally sound chess all the way through, but I hope you enjoyed this game. I haven't made a chess video in some time. And yeah, have a nice day, YouTube.